But we've got another Formula Ford race coming up, the last chance race. So let's hand you back to the commentary team.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Big race this then. A lot of drivers' festival hopes rest on this race and their result in this race. On pole position is Benjamin Cochran with Luke Cooper alongside. So Luke definitely a driver who's had actually a bit of a festival to forget, really, from his spin in the heat yesterday, his dramas in the semi-final, of course, earlier on, which means that he will be having to get through in the last chance race. 30 drivers then. The top 6 progress automatically, and we actually thought one of those top 6 drivers might have been absent from the grid, but Darwin Smith, who you may remember had mechanical issues at the end of the historic final, has actually got the car out there now, so he was missing from the grid initially. He does, though, now line up 5th on the grid. Let's run you through the grid then. There may be a few changes to this if some of the reserves have been given a space on the grid. If we're missing 1 or 2 cars, and I can see that has happened because there is a very noteworthy driver at the back of the grid. You can just see him there. The red and white number 45 is last year's festival winner Rory Smith, who we thought might have to miss out on this race. Let's give you the grid as it was. This may be slightly different now then. Benjamin Cochran and Luke Cooper are there on the front row there, ahead of Derek Palmer and Brandon McCorgan. Then it's Darwin Smith and Jeremy Fairbairn, with Abdul Ahmed and Chris Acton on row number 4. Row 5 for number 5 Matt Rivette and 28 Tom Hawkins. Matt Rivette, of course, starring in that historic final a few moments ago. Then it's then it's Michael Crane, Chris Goodwin, Ryan Campbell and Lewis Fox, with Lucas Romanek and Robbie Allen on row 8. Row 9 for Richard Higgins and Jack Kemp. Row 10, Chris Hodgson and Adam Fathers, with Noel Robinson, James Hagan, Peter Daly and David Parks on the 12th row of the grid. Then row number 13 is where we will find Liam McShane, then Drew Stewart, Mark Sauer and Chris Knox, then Phil Harris and Rick Morris. But we believe, Scott, that 1 or 2 of them are not there. Now, the ones that I can't see are Rick Morris. Rick Morris is not there. Philip Harris, I think, is, but Mark Sauer possibly not. And actually, I can see Andrew Blair there. That looks like pulling off on the warm-up lap. Remember, he was off earlier on as well. But crucially, the driver that is there at the back of the grid is Rory Smith. And Rory Smith needs to make it from something like 28th or 29th on the grid to the top 6. If he does that, he's in the final. If he doesn't, his festival's over.
Yeah, so no pressure then, I think. It's an understatement. I think he's going to have to try really hard. They also got, I saw car 71 was on the back as well, so obviously he's joined in too. That was car 71, who was also reserved. That's Nick Sam Street, so who was in the historic final as well, so he's on the back of the grid too. So again, that's the bonus of having the reserves in the mix. I think possibly, unless Andrew Blair's car can't get out of it, and one of them might benefit, I wonder if possibly, if they allow them to, possibly one of the Jilkses, of course, might be in there, because of course you have Nick and Megan that went out at the same time on the run down, exiting down towards Graham Hill Bend in the tyres in the wet. So if one of them manages to make it there, because we've got that gap missing of that car, which I think must be Andrew Blair's car that isn't there, if they do have to do a restart for some reason within the first couple of laps, there's a chance, I think, possibly that could happen. We're about to find out then who books the last 6 spots into the final.
Yep, an 8-lap race then. The last chance race in recognition of Diz gets underway now, and it's a terrible start from the pole sitter. Benjamin Cochran goes nowhere. He's out of the top 6 already. On the inside goes Darwin Smith. Luke Cooper leads the way. Darwin Smith goes second, and in third position is that Derek Palmer? Oh, contact further back around. There's a car off into the gravel, 2 cars off into the gravel, and maybe more to follow as well, and that was always likely to happen given how slippery it was through there. And I'm trying to figure out who those 2 are.
One I think is Tom Hawkins, the other one's Benjamin Cochran.
Yes, it is Benjamin Cochran from pole position number 33. So a terrible start, then a spin, and unfortunately caught that other car up in as well. It's Cooper that leads the way. Darwin Smith is in second place though, and Derek Palmer in third.
Safety car deployed, so it's not a red flag, which means that, well, Royce hasn't really made up any more spots. He's still basically towards the back of the grid, and it means that those who were sat there waiting for a restart to possibly get through if they couldn't do the restart, unfortunately means they won't get that chance. There will be parked into the pit lane, but usually if the race doesn't get red flagged and restarted, if there are cars out within the first 2 laps, do a restart again, they can get through. I think 1 or 2 drivers haven't really spotted it properly, so they're all trying to work out where they are. I think that safety car possibly around the end of that lap might have caught up 1 or 2 people. But we're hearing possibly there might have been possibly towards the back for some cars getting caught out. maybe are coming together with a couple of cars. Didn't see who, if there is, but possibly a couple of people getting caught out with everyone trying to slow up to reach the safety car.
So, at the moment, Luke Cooper leads the way, Darwin Smith second, Derek Palmer third, Abdul Ahmed is fourth, having picked up 3 places on the opening lap. Brandon McCorgan from fourth on the grid has dropped down to fifth, and Jeremy Fairbairn rounds out the top 6. Remember, it is only the top 6 that progress to the final. Now, for Rory Smith, he has ended the opening lap 25th. Yeah, and this safety car is not good news, is it? He needed every lap of this race to make progress.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of confusion of cars sort of slowing up to going up towards Druid. So, but you're absolutely right. With such a short amount of time in the race, this really is, unfortunately, Rory's chance of making the final dwindling away quite literally lap by lap because of behind the safety car with that quick. And I know that recovery crews are working as hard as they can to get these cars cleared up as quickly as possible. But ultimately, the longer the safety car goes on, the better chance it is for the current 6 that are in there that. I don't want to use the word lucked in, but essentially, there is no element of luck in terms of getting to the final. But being in the 6 positions where they've got less pressure because they've got less laps to be able to get through. But of course, with other cars that are going to try and charge for their way through, that's the case. So all Rory can do now with the laps he'll have left is literally just race as hard as he can, hope that cars sort of start parting like the sea, with Moses parting the sea trying to get through, pick his way through and somehow try and pick up, he's got to basically make up essentially 19 places in however many laps we have left, like 4 or 5 laps left, which is, dare I say it, mission impossible.
I think it might be, yes. And we have seen in the past that sometimes in this situation where it's a really short race and they don't want to lose all of the racing laps behind a safety car, the clock of course may choose to throw a red flag instead and simply just restart the race. We don't have that option today. We're half an hour behind schedule after the rain that passed through over the latter part of the morning, so they do just have to keep running this behind the safety car. Unfortunately, it's not ideal, certainly not for Rory Smith, but it is unfortunately the only option available to race control. So lap number 2 completed then, 6 laps to go. Luke Cooper very happy with this, I'm sure, in the lead.
I think they're going as slow as possible in order to allow them as much time to clear the cars, but also to allow as many laps as possible still in this last chance race. So they've managed to retrieve Tom Hawkins' car to more of a safer spot I can see out the window. They are now just taking care of Benjamin Cochrane's car, so if they can do it quick enough, if they can possibly stack them up a bit more to kind of go a bit more slower, there might be a good chance, loosely, potentially, if they can clear the Hawkins car quick enough to get this race back out of the way this time, but it's going to have to rely on that car quickly being moved out of the way, which it is now, thankfully. So maybe there's a chance we could get going back in the race. Otherwise, it could genuinely be something like a 5-4 lap shootout to decide who gets those final 6 places in the final. Yeah,
I think if we don't go racing this time, we should next time. So that would give us 4 laps of racing. It is going to be touch and go because they've got to get that car to a safe place, then they've got to release it, then they've got to get the truck and the marshals out of the way, and they've got to do all of that in the next, realistically, 15 to 20 seconds, because the call to switch the lights off will happen halfway down this next straight. I just don't think that's going to happen. So in all likelihood, we're going to get 1 more lap behind the runyourfleet.com safety car here, which gives us a 4-lap shootout to decide those final 6 positions. And of course, the further within that top 6 that you finish, the higher up the grid you will start in that final. So this is to fill out the 25th to 30th spots on the grid. So win this race and you will give yourself a slightly better chance, maybe.
I think the safety car's gone. We are getting that this time by. So in terms of the recovery, they've actually got it back in place. Wow. So great job by them. So the recovery crews have been great. So then it's 5 laps left to save Rory Smith and everyone else's festival for this weekend. They come out of the final couple of corners onto the pit straight. So then 5 laps to go to the side. Who joins the existing 24 qualifiers for the final? Luke Cooper's got a mega restart as he gets away from Darwin Smith on the restart. Palmer still in third with Abdul Ahmed in the Firman out on the outside line down towards Paddock Hill Bend. But of course we're going to keep looking further backwards to see exactly where Rory Smith is and how much progress he can make in this short amount of time. Essentially, he has from the 25th, off the road. That's one of the 55th, 59 cars gone off on the road. 59 is Chris Acton. He's off the road. And is that going to prompt another safety car? Because it's half on the circuit. If you can reverse and get it out, that might help, because he's got the wheels on the tarmac part of this AstroTurf part of the circuit, which obviously is more grippy. So if he can get it out, brilliant. If not, Dare I say, is that another safety car?
If he stalled the car, then he won't go anywhere, but hopefully he's not. At the moment, though, it doesn't look great, does it? Yes, there we go. He's got it fired up. The rear wheels are on the concrete. That's crucial because these cars are rear-wheel drive. It's just a case of how badly buried the front wheels are and whether or not he can drag himself out. The car is still there at the moment. The safety car's not yet been scrambled. Cars heading up towards Paddock Hill Bend once more then. We are into the second half of this last chance race. The car is still in the way, so there will be, as a bare minimum, yellow flags at Paddock Hill Bend. Still, though, not yet any sign of the safety car. Out of paddock they go, one or two of them running wide. This always makes me a little bit nervous. He's actually driven forward, I think, to try and get further out of the way there. Diving up the inside. That's a really late move attempted there, going into Druid's corner. Didn't quite work. That was Fairbairn, I think, wasn't it, on McGorgan?
Yep, so these two going wheel to wheel. Two young chargers. The young American who's having a proper first run in the UK. To play his UK racing debut at Snetterton, the last round of the National Formula 4 Championship. And that car actually is the ex-Max Maserati Van Diemen, which he's driving. So good to see that car once again back in form. He's got past, and then the newly crowned historic Formula 4 Festival final winner Matt Rivette getting his elbows out too. He's in there in the mix. Also with Lucas Romanek. Safety car deployed again, and I fear, Andy, whoever's in the top 6 now, that's it.
3 laps to go. They've only got one car to move. I don't know. We might get a lap. We might get one lap. I don't hold that much hope for Rory Smith, if I'm honest, because he's all the way down in 22nd place at the moment. Or they may have picked up 1 or 2 more on that lap. We'll see. He's not yet come across the line. He will come across the line now. And yes, picked up 1 more. So 21st place for Rory Smith. He ain't going to go from 21st to 6th, I don't think, in 1 or 2 laps. So yes, he may well have to face the fact now that his festival is over. Luke Cooper isn't, though. Yes, okay, he started on the front row. He was always the favourite to win this race, but Luke, from the qualifying session yesterday, arguably could have had the pace to win this festival. It is only right, really, that he gets through into the final.
See, there was whether it's Andrew Blair's or somebody else, I did see there was a car pulled up on the inside just on Cooper Straight.
Yeah, that is Andrew. He pulled off on the warm-up lap.
Right, okay, that makes sense then. So, yeah, there is the stranded car of Chris Acton, which they're trying to push out of the way now, so and try and get it going again if they can. But yeah, I do fear that essentially, if it's not 2 laps, we're probably going to get a 1-lap shootout here if they do get it going again. That's the trouble. It's crucially, I think they've put Chris Acton back in the car again to try and help him push it back out again. So if he does do that, although that said, if you do get out of the car, technically that means that you're essentially submitting to the fact that your race is over. So he's pretty back in the car, I think, just to move the car rather than getting back in the race, because the rule is that once you get out, you can't get back in again with the purpose of getting back into the race. So that's Acton's race done, and possibly, I think, many people's festival provisionally it seems they're over, including, sadly, due to the drama in the semi-final in the wet, I'm afraid, I think Rory Smith.
Yeah, and now that is not something that we would have predicted. I thought after the first part of his semi-final he might be one of the favourites to win the festival, and then made that mistake up at Paddock Hill Bend, went off into the gravel trap, no damage done, but the car was stuck and he was out of the semi-final. Got another car coming down the pit lane there. Is that Rory Smith? Yes, Rory Smith's in the pits and heading for the paddock, actually. Rory Smith is heading for the paddock, so he's given up, perhaps. He realises it's not going to happen, might as well try and get an early jump and head off home, or get himself a good spot to watch the final from. That's probably what he's hoping to do. Not the way we wanted the reigning festival winners 2021 event to end, but unfortunately rather self-inflicted after the off that he had in the semi earlier on. So that takes him out of the equation. Now the question remains, well, first of all, will we get to racing? If we are, it will have to be at the end of this lap, and if we do, will we see any changes here? Matt Rivette, for example, is the man in 7th place. Could he snatch one of those progression spots?
It's going to be a tricky one, particularly if you've got the 1 lap. It's literally, what the phrase is, 1 lap magic, in terms of, so it have to be 1 lap magic for Luke Cooper or anyone else that wants to hold off their spots, but then also a bit of magic pulled out for anyone else that's 7th down. Like I said, Matt Rivette's in the mix as well. You've got behind him Lucas Romanek, you've got Chris Goodwin's on the fringe as well, Michael Gray in there too as well in 10th position. I mean, he put in that fantastic last to first drive in the progression race yesterday, which is, to me, one of the drives of the festival this year, which is incredible. And in the mix as well, we're almost recovered. Now, I didn't know, last time we were waiting for this, they did actually let the safety car lights out pretty about halfway through down the pits, down the back straight. Lights are going out maybe in a second now. If not, tractors off the track we're hearing, but No, safety car lights aren't off again, so I think possibly, this is going to end on the safety car, I think, by the looks of it, and it looks as though that, unfortunately, a bit of anticlimax, unless they're backing them right up to try and get a restart in. This might be touch and go, because usually they would restart them on the back straight, but I think given the circumstances... Oh no, lights are out. Yeah. Lights have gone out on the safety car, so they were backing up as much as they could. And Luke Cooper, I think, was definitely watching the eyes, the safety car lights, like a hawk, thinking, right, are they going to restart or not? So, it is to be then one lap magic to decide who is the final 6 into this year's festival final. Here we go.
So it's all about the fight for 6th, really. Luke Cooper should be able to hang on to the victory, but who will finish in 6th place? There is a bit of a gap, actually, between McGorgan in 6th and Rivette in 7th, who in turn is under pressure from Lucas Romanek. Now, Romanek's coming from the back, remember, after his spin in the semi-final. There he is, look, the black and white all-field motorsport car. If he can get himself up ahead of Rivette quickly, he might just have half a chance. He's up the inside line as they make their way towards Druids Corner. Lucas Romanek is going to go 7th, and look how close he is now to the top 6, because right ahead of him is Jeremy Fairbairn, who's still dicing away here with McCorgan. McCorgan on the outside, drops down to 6th position, but Romanek is there. Lucas Romanek is right on the tail of the 6th place car. He's got one more overtaking opportunity, and that's into the final turn at Clearways. Luke Cooper looks good for the victory. Darwin Smith in 2nd place, Derek Palmer in 3rd, Abdul Ahmed is in 4th, Jeremy Fairbairn is in 5th and goes up the inside, but here comes Romanek. Romanek on the inside of McCorgan, there's contact. Oh, off they both go. Romanek is off, so is McCorgan. Neither of them will make the festival final, and it might be Chris Goodwin who gets through into the 6th position. Who is it going to be? Across the line they go. It's Cooper, Smith, Palmer, Ahmed, Fairbairn and Matt Rivette, the historic final winner, who gets the final transfer spot after a dramatic final corner. Lucas Romanek put it all on the line there. Unfortunately, it was Brandon McGorgan that he took out with him. That was that desperation sinking in, I think, that you alluded to earlier on, and I reckon there may be words between these two in a moment.
Yeah, just neither wanted to give up the space because they knew what was at stake. Romanek had the inside line, he wanted to keep the line he had, and on the outside line, McCorgan just didn't want to give it up. He wanted to try and just cling on to that final spot, and just the both came together. The initial contact was more to McCorgan's detriment, but it was the secondary contact afterwards that damaged the left rear of Romanek, and that's what put him out. So, yeah, disappointing on what can happen, but for the likes of Cooper, Darwin Smith, Palmer, Ahmed, Fairbairn and Rivette, that's what you call the Great Escape. All 6 of them are now onto the back of the festival final, and that means now we have essentially what we've confirmed now are 30 cars in place, it seems, provisionally for this festival final. And given the fact that we are pretty much getting a bone dry circuit, we're getting, I think, hopefully the one thing which I really want us to have, a dry final. With the calibre we've got, I think this is now going to reach fever pitch for this final. I can't wait.
You're absolutely right. The sky is pretty blue now, not too many clouds around. We should have a dry final. That race due to start at about 20 to 4. It may end up being 15 or 20 minutes later than that or so. However, it is Luke Cooper that claims the victory in the last chance race in recognition of Diz. Luke Cooper will go through, so too will Darwin Smith, Derek Palmer, Abdul Ahmed, Jeremy Fairbairn, and in dramatic circumstances on the very last corner, Matt Rivette claims the final transfer spot. Luke Cooper, though, gets his first victory of the 2021 festival, and he's down there now with Richard.
Thanks ever so much, Andy. Luke's here and ready over the pro. Luke, I think we would have been expecting to talk to you a little bit sooner, but well done on the win in the last chance race.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been another difficult festival for me, but got through into the final now, so let's see what we can do in that.
Easy enough race out there for you?
Yeah, well, the last safety car made it really difficult, leaving the lights to turn off so late, so I couldn't really pick when to go because it was such a short time before the last corner. But yeah, no, I managed it well and got the win.
Great to be on the final. Realistically, what are your expectations for the final?
Well, starting at the back, it's going to be really difficult. Going to need a lot of luck on my side to get a good result out of it. But if we could get a top 10 out of it, that would be a mega result. But it is the festival final, so anything can happen.
When things haven't gone your way, it's still nice to be here at the festival, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had a lot of bad luck in the festival over the years, so probably had a lot more bad events here. But the festival itself is such an amazing event, and it's always great to come back, even though it doesn't always go my way.
Well, it's great to see you, and great to see you smiling after the win. Good to see that, mate. Good luck for the final.
Thank you.
Luke Cooper, our race winner, and see if we can catch up with Darwin Smith, who is over there. So we didn't talk to Darwin after the Brian Jones Trophy. Memorial Trophy, but we should be able to do that now. Darwin, are you okay for a quick word, mate? Well done, P2, so made it through to the final, and also congratulations on your result in the Brian Jones Memorial Trophy for the Historics. That was really good. We missed you because obviously you were getting ready for the Lance Charles race, but just tell us about your weekend and maybe about that historic race as well.
Yeah, it was a very good race. Actually, unfortunately, we had to pull in a lap from the end. We had an engine problem. The distributor actually came loose, so it started to misfire. And in that race, we got it fixed quite quickly. But I think we're still struggling with something there, so we had a misfire in that race.
Smith's Engineering still going? I remember them from back in the day. Was it in the 1970s? I spoke to you many years ago.
Yes.
I used to sponsor a great friend of mine in short oval racing out there. But the company going well?
Yes, fantastic actually. Yeah, we're doing 24 hours production now. We're mainly into CNC machining. So 60 years this year actually we're going, so happy with that.
An anniversary like the festival?
Yeah, delighted. So long may it last.
Darwin, great to speak to you. Well done. Good to see you in the final. Good luck for that.
Cheers.
And we'll catch up with the man who finished in third place. So from Northern Ireland, we're going to travel to Scotland now, and Derek Palmer. Well done, Derek.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah.
Good to get in the final.
Yeah, happy with that. We shouldn't really have been there, so it was just nice to just kind of secure it through. Got fired off in the heat, so or the semi-final. So yeah, just happy to secure a place for the final, and let's see what we can do from there. We're far back and it's trying, but it's going to be interesting for sure. We got 20 laps, so we got time.
The one thing we learned, particularly yesterday with Mikey's race, was never discount a Scot.
Definitely, and that last race, I was well out of it, and I had to come all the way back through to make it to 14th, which put me on the the kind of front 2 rows here, which. Yeah, I'm glad I was, because it was a chaotic race even though it's only 8 laps. So many safety cars, so yeah, just happy to qualify through in first Formula Ford Festival, first final.
Congratulations. SMRC racer normally?
Yeah, SMRC, yeah, so yeah, shout out to the guys down there, so it's nice.
Some great drivers and some great racing over the years that it's been my pleasure to cover back in the day.
Absolutely, so long
Derek, good to meet you, good to speak to you, and good luck for the final.
Thank you very much, cheers.
Thanks Derek, well done. So Derek Palmer, who takes third position, and it wasn't it, on the last lap that we got the last of the qualifiers in the last chance race through, with Matt Rivet coming through. Again, it just goes to show how much of a dive did those guys have to do after the Brian Jones Memorial Trophy for the Historics to get back to the paddock, get the cars refettled and back out for the last chance race. But they did it, and we're seeing some of those guys go through into the final as well. Abdul Ahmed getting through as, oh, hang on, Ant, you're going to be run over there, mate. Let's just move clear. Abdul Ahmed, as well as Matt Rivet, and Jeremy Fairbairn, the American runner, who I know was ruining the wet conditions earlier in the day because he comes from Florida, but things looking a little bit better for him, so it'll be interesting to see, not only how the front runners go in the festival final, but also how the guys that come through from the last chance race pick up from the back of the grid after their bad luck. It's going to be a fascinating festival final, which we look forward to.